Well, good evening, everybody. It's good again to come out. Just got finished praying that the Lord would bless the efforts tonight. I don't ever want to take it for granted that the Lord's going to give me something every time I come out here, but it's somewhat amazing that when you come out here and you find a verse and you start honing in on that verse, some people might not understand some of my language. When you hone in on something, you're aiming directly at the target. And when I find a verse that I can hone in on, that verse usually will speak very clearly. And that's what I ask the Lord tonight, is to give me words that are very clear so that the words can be understood. I don't want to come out here and just bring words just to be talking in the camera. I'd like to bring words that make sense, that will make somebody think, make them meditate on what thus saith the Lord. I'm in the book of Colossians. I'm in the last book, and I'm in chapter 4, in the last chapter, and I'm looking at verse 5. You know, part of me wanted to go somewhere else, but then I started looking at that, and I said, in my prayer that I said before I turned the camera on, man has his wisdom, but God has his wisdom. Man's wisdom and God's wisdom is two totally different wisdoms. One wisdom that is a man is going to come to naught. That wisdom is earthly. It's sensual, like the Bible even says in one place. Let me just read the verse. It says, walk in wisdom. Now, when you walk, it didn't say run in wisdom. It said walk in wisdom. When I come out here tonight, I didn't run to this room. I walked. I had my phone to give me a little bit of light to get out here. I have to sort of go in sequence by stepping on the stones, on the stepping stones, to get out to the edge of the barn where I can go through two pieces of equipment to be able to walk in the middle enough for me to reach the light to be able to turn on the light. And so you have to make sure that you don't step on anything, that you watch where you step. You don't want to go out and fall down and break your arm or break your leg. You want to, be careful when you're walking out here and when I walk back. But Paul says to walk in wisdom. When you walk, you're steady as you go. There's times that I have to hold on to the wall to put my shoes on, because I have a tendency to be a little wobbly-headed, especially early in the morning when I wake up. There's a lot of times that when you go put your clothes on, you sort of have to be careful when you stick one leg in the pants leg and the other one you're balancing yourself. 5 years ago, I didn't have that problem. Today, I have that problem. He says here in this verse, walk in wisdom. It's not talking about walking in man's wisdom. Man will lead you to believe that he's pretty smart. Well, man ain't all that smart. Anytime that man thinks that his wisdom is going to get anywhere with God, I can tell you right now, you just spinning your wheels. You just wasting your time. If you're trying to impress God with your thinking and your wisdom, it ain't going to happen. I need to remember that when I come out here and make a video, that I definitely do not wanting to come out here and think that I've got the answers. If God doesn't give me the understanding, and that's what I prayed before I turned the camera on, I prayed that the Lord would give me understanding of what this actual word wisdom actually means. See, man has a wisdom and God has a wisdom. He says here, walk in wisdom. Now, it didn't say what kind of wisdom to walk in, but we already know that Paul is telling them Colossians here to walk in a godly wisdom. That's the only wisdom that's going to get us anywhere with God is godly wisdom. It didn't say godly wisdom. Walk in wisdom. It didn't say run in wisdom. Toward men that are without. What does that mean? Men that are lost. Men that are without salvation. There is a pile of people that are without salvation. You know, I make it very clear every time I come out here, I'm concerned about people and their soul and their salvation. I'm concerned about that. I very much am. I'm more concerned about that than trying to be some master teacher. You know, I've had even people tell me that my teaching don't impress them. Well, I guess that's okay. But I find that a lot of people like the simplicity. And when you talk over somebody's head, if I just assumed when I come out here and I'm looking at this verse, I could go and say, well, you know, everybody knows about that. No, they don't. There's a lot of people that don't know about the wisdom of God. They know about their own wisdom. They know about their own thinking. They know about their own righteousness. They know about themselves, but they don't know nothing about the wisdom of God. And I would hope that before I get done with this video tonight, that the wisdom of God would come shining through. And that's what this verse is saying. Walk in wisdom toward them that are without. How do I know who is without? I don't know. There's one place, I don't remember, I think it's in the book of James, where it actually talks about entertaining angels unawares. I'm not sure where that is, but I think it's in the book of James. Entertaining angels unaware. What does that mean? That means that I could be as close to someone that is an angel and me not ever know it. I could be entertaining angels. I could be around angels and I wouldn't even know it. What is he saying right here? Walk in wisdom toward them that are without. The ones that are without is the ones that is without salvation. Salvation is a big deal. A person won't make it to heaven without salvation. Oh, you can be a good person. You can be a well-groomed person. You can be a very neat dresser. You can even carry a Bible under your arm and let everybody see that you're carrying a Bible. My Bible happens to be a large size, super size, giant print King James Bible. When I carry my Bible, people see my Bible because it's pretty big. But see, I need the letters to be big in order for me to have a chance to be able to read it without straining what eyes I do have. See, he says here, walk in wisdom toward them that are without. There's a lot of people that are without. There's a lot of people that are without Jesus Christ. They are without godly wisdom. Oh, they got wisdom, but they got a human wisdom. And the human wisdom doesn't impress God. Walk in wisdom toward them that are without. redeeming the time. Meaning if I've got a month, if I got 30 more days of life, and I knew that my life was going to end in 30 days, wouldn't I want to redeem the time that I have left? Wouldn't I desire to want to redeem the time of the 30 days that I have left? Instead of waiting until the 29th day and then decide, I better go ahead and hurry up and get some stuff done because Jesus is coming back for me tomorrow. No, I think if I had 30 days and he let me know that in 30 days you're going home, I think I would take advantage of every one of them 30 days. That's what it means here by redeeming the time. Redeeming, when you redeem something, you purchase it. If I went to the store and bought something, I would redeem that item by paying for it to be able to have right to take it out of the store. See, when I redeem the time, I'm redeeming the time to care about the lost people. That's where I think the church world is falling on their face, is we're all right because our 4 and no more is saved and ready to go. But what about your neighbor down the road? What about a family member that don't know the Lord? What about a stranger that you happen to run into at the food store? I had a little bit of an embarrassing thing that happened to me last week, that I sort of acted a little bit in the flesh because somebody else acted in the flesh. And, I feel bad about that now. But, there's nothing I can do about it. I don't know the person. The person doesn't know me. I didn't get ugly with the person, but was I the best example? Was I redeeming the time with that guy? No. I think about it now and realize that I wasn't redeeming the time as I should have been. But it says here, redeeming the time. The time of what? My remaining time. See, we don't know that I'm only going to have 30 days. I might have 180 days. See, we don't know when our redeeming the time comes up. If we only knew when our redeeming time was, I believe it would shake every one of us to the core. I know it would me. If the Lord give me an idea that 30 days, my time was up, I believe I would probably say, thank you, Lord. Let me get to it. Let me come out here and make nonstop videos. Let me come out here and bring out what thus saith the Lord and do it in a 24-hour, 7-day-a-week area, because you know what? Maybe there would be somebody that would listen to what I would say and they would take advantage of it. See, some people's going to watch this video tonight and they're going to not pay it any mind. But what if there's only one? What if there's only one that will pay it some mind? Will it be worth it to that one? I never go for numbers. I never have. I've never been a numbers person. Would I want to have more watchers on YouTube and Facebook? Yeah. I would be lying to you if I didn't want to feel that I'm saying the truth and that I wouldn't want more watchers. I would. And I desire that. But you know what? I'm limited to what I can do. God has asked me to speak spiritual to a person that might not be very smart. There might be some people out here that watches my videos on a everyday basis. I'm certainly not saying that anybody is not smart. I'm saying that it should be my desire to speak clearly, because that's the way I've got to speak to people in the nursing home. You cannot talk over their head. You got to be on their level. You can't be over their head. You have to be on their wavelength. And I believe that's the Lord gives me the ability to try to speak to people on their wavelength. I might be talking down to people. I would rather talk so simple that a 10-year-old can understand. I like to talk so simple that a 15-year-old could understand. I went to a church several years ago, and there was a 12-year-old little boy that got saved. It blowed me away. Couldn't believe it. But the message that I brought could be spoken again. And it could be that somebody else could get saved from it. The same very message. So what is he saying right here? Walk in wisdom toward them that are without, redeeming the time. But it goes on in verse 6. It says, let your speech be always with grace. That guy that I got in a confrontation with, I don't think I was speaking too much in grace at that very moment. And I feel bad about that, but there's nothing I can do about it. I didn't get belligerent. I didn't get ugly. I just think that my grace didn't shine through, because it says, let your speech be always with grace. You know what grace is? Unmerited love. Turn the other cheek kind of love. Grace is unmerited favor of God. Let your speech be always with grace. Listen at this now. Seasoned with salt. You know, my wife cooks pretty good, but there's times that, boy, she misses the seasoning down all the way. I mean, I'm not talking ugly about her. I think she's a great cook. She's a great lady. But sometimes there's just not enough adequate salt to make it really good. It's almost like that she intentionally doesn't salt something. But you know what? If you don't add a little bit of salt to the grits, you can add salt after the grits are cooked, and it don't get blended in with the grits all through the grits itself. You don't have a whole lot of salt flavor in the grits. You have to add more salt, and you have to stir it up in order to get the seasoning there. What is he saying right here? Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt. You know, the Bible even talks about where it says, ye are the salt of the earth. But if the salt has lost its savor, meaning its tasting ability, wherewith shall it be salted? I think that's in the Sermon on the Mount. I believe he speaks about salt. Well, that's what he's talking here. Paul's talking here. Seasoned with salt. Then it says that ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. See, if I'm contemplating how I did that man that I got a little upset with, do you think that maybe I would be doing the bottom of this verse a little bit different? That ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. I think I could learn a lesson from that. But what lesson can I learn now after the fact? I can let it convict me. I can let it maybe not get hot-headed again. And maybe I could prevent it from happening again. I didn't come out here condemning myself for what I did to that person. I didn't think about it until I started the video. Didn't think about it until I got almost done with the video. But I'm just telling you that if I can convict myself of things that I'm guilty of, how many people out there in the YouTube world will always be able to say, you know, I've been there before. I'm sure I'm not the only one that has been there before. I'm sure there was probably other people that has been there like this before. What is he saying? Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt. It's not talking about here the natural salt. It's talking about the seasoning of the Spirit of God, the wisdom of the Spirit of God. It's not talking about salting your food right here. Let your speech be always with grace, seasoned with salt, meaning spiritual salt. That's what he's referring to. That ye may know how ye ought to answer every man. See, when my voice is seasoned with salt, then it's seasoned by the grace of God. And I just need to be reminded that, you know what? I might be entertaining angels unaware. That's just something to think about. I hope that maybe you got something from this. I didn't come out here to condemn anybody. My job is to have godly wisdom, the kind of wisdom that God can bless. That's the wisdom that is my desire to have. Elderly ministry is how you contact me. If you decide you want to talk, if you need salvation, you need to get a hold of me. You need to do it when the video is over with. You need to call me. There's a phone number on that website that is easily to find. You just look for the contact and go down and open it up and you will see my cell number. I have email. I have different methods of being able to communicate. If you decide you want to do that, I need you to leave me a message so I know to call you back. I'll be more than glad if I'm asleep in the middle of the night and I get a phone call that is a legitimate call, that somebody leaves their name and their phone number and a time they want me to call them back. I will do my everlasting best. I will do my best to return that call, because time is of the essence. If somebody's out there tonight and they're lost, you need to get saved, and you need to get saved today. Jesus is soon to return, so you don't want to be left here using your own wisdom, using your own salt. No, Jesus already told us to have the wisdom of God, the right kind of wisdom. You can also go to YouTube. This is my YouTube channel. You can also see the phone number in the bottom of the video on most of these current YouTube videos. There's over 700 of them now. I think this one is like 702 or 703. Go find you a video and listen to it. I've got plenty of them there. Share them with somebody if you think it'll help. I love to talk with you. I make it available every time I come. I love for people to take me up on that offer. I thank y'all for watching. I hope that you're using the godly kind of wisdom. Thank y'all for tuning in.